Hey everybody, it is time for a shop update. I know it's been a while since I've published a video, and don't worry, we will be remedying that in the near future. But let's start by just getting caught up. My shop is a lot more clean and organized than it's been in the past. And I'm actually in the middle of like 4 or 5 really big projects right now, and I am maybe not behind yet, but kind of right up to the wire. And this is my shop with me in a rush. So I have a few packages around. There's a couple things that aren't where they belong. But overall, my shop has gotten so much more clean and organized and efficient over the last year or two that even when I'm in a rush, things are generally still in a pretty good shape. A lot of that is due to little shop improvements like these foam trays that give me a place to put all of my tools by the machine, which have slowly started spreading everywhere throughout the shop. I even set up a workbench here, and the sole purpose of this workbench is to do shop improvements. So I have, some basic tools here, but also things like my label maker, just so that if I need to knock out a quick shop improvement, I have everything in one spot. We still don't talk about this corner, but most of this stuff here is in the progress of becoming a greenhouse for my wife. The bandsaw used to be way back there in that corner, but I've moved it, if we rotate around, over to this corner. So now the bandsaw is right here next to the mill, so that I can cut material while running parts. It just reduces a lot of wasted motion. I've also set up all of my coolant tools back there in the corner. And speaking of coolant, I am getting ready to change coolants to this stuff. I used to use Qualichem 251C. It's the stuff that I first put in my first machine, and I've just never changed. I never had a complaint against it, except that my distributor was terrible. And recently they changed their website, and it required me to set up a new account with them. But no matter what I did, I couldn't get them to respond to any of my calls or emails. So I just am not doing business with that distributor anymore. And someone recommended this stuff from, I don't know, I'll put the link down in the description. Obviously they're not sponsoring me. But their sales team was great. You can buy online, and it's just a little bit cheaper than the Qualichem. So I'll tell you if I like it or not. I am getting ready to sell my box of scrap carbide. Somebody is coming to pick it up today because it doesn't look like much, but this is actually almost $2,000 worth of carbide. This box has every tool that I've ever broken, going back to the Shoreline lathe, if you remember that machine. And also that person is going to take all of my chips and all of my solid chunks of scrap so I can finally get those out of here. It is the middle of March, and I have made more money this year than I did in all of 2024, for some context. So business has been going pretty well recently. This year, almost everything has come off of that one machine, off of the 1500. And in fact, that same guy who is going to take all of my scrap is going to look at the office mill and decide if he wants to take that too. Not as scrap value, but normal resale value. Part of me is hesitant to sell this machine, but I haven't been using it very much. It's nice to have a second spindle. It's nice to have a backup machine in case something does go wrong with the Tormach, but nothing has gone wrong with that machine yet. So I don't know if I need the insurance of this machine sitting around, and it's taking up space. It's not really providing me any value. It's also not being particularly useful. And getting that machine out of here would let me make this space a little bit more useful. Robot is gonna go there. This saw can go over to the other side, and we have a nice, compact, really efficient cell. I did take some time to do some work on this machine. I patched up all of the leaks. I replaced the window. I just cleaned out the coolant tank in case I need to switch it to the other coolant or if I sell it. But this machine is, looking and running as good as it has for a long time. I am also, for the first time, not just a one-man shop. I have an intern now. He's obviously not here at the moment, but I found a great guy locally. He's a little bit younger than me. He's a knife maker full-time and was wanting to learn some of the CNC stuff. I needed a little bit more help in the shop, and then also I needed to start testing out some systems for Subtract with somebody who's not me. So I also run Subtract Manufacturing now, which we'll talk more about later, but it's a network of machine shops, similar to something like Xometry. Part of Subtract is having processes in place for our shops. Some of those are mandatory, like our quality standards and our shipping guidelines. Some of those are optional best practices that we provide them, like a good tool library. Now, before we can push those systems onto our shops, whether they're requirements or best practices, we need to test them. We don't want to ask our shops to do anything that I am unwilling or unable to do myself. The problem is if I test those systems myself as a one-man shop, one, they're going to work for a one-man shop and not anybody else, but two, they're going to work for me and not anybody else. So by having somebody new to machining, somebody with an outside point of view, somebody who is not the person who wrote those standards, we can test those standards and make sure they work before we, send them out to the rest of the network. So that's the main purpose of the intern. And then this is also a test to see if Audacity is ready to take somebody on full time. I've been teaching manufacturing skills for, 2 years or something at this point. I've taught a lot of apprentices that have gone on to Fortune 500 companies. I teach for the Department of Corrections, helping teach job skills to inmates. And I figured it was time to put my money where my mouth was. And if I am willing to train for these other companies, then I should probably be willing to train people for my own shop. And that's actually been kind of like a cheat code, where I have taught a lot of these things so many times that having an intern come in, I was able to get him up and running pretty quickly. He's obviously not programming yet, but he's already able to run the Tormach without issue. And we've also found some weaknesses in my process. For example, when I set up a job, I generally just take a screen cap from Fusion that has all of my tool numbers and where to set the work coordinate system. And that's all I really need as a reminder to get a job running because I'm the one that programmed it. Turns out that's not quite enough for an intern who's not super familiar with CNC. So I need to, for example, develop better setup sheets. I'll make a template, I'll test it with the intern, we'll revise it over a couple weeks, and then once it's good, we can send that template out to our shops on the Subtract network. And if they want to use it, great. If they want to modify it, even better. If they don't, I don't care. So having this intern lets me develop systems and processes like that for the bigger network. And I have actually even taken some parts from our big blue competitor for training our intern. It's actually a pretty decent place to go and find some jobs where if you don't care about making money, you can just go find some easy Delrin jobs or easy aluminum jobs and program them in a couple of minutes, send them to the intern, and it's a really fast way of training someone. It's actually given me some ideas for Subtract. We're quite a ways from being able to implement this, but I would love to have a separate tier of Subtract that's like just for students or interns or training or whatever, where the customer is able to pay a pretty cheap price at the risk of having their parts made by a student. I don't know how to handle the quality and everything with that. This is like a 2 or 3 year down the line problem, but it's something that I want to solve eventually. So on that note, let's talk about Subtract. I'm not going to give you the sales pitch. Go watch an earlier video if you want to hear the sales pitch for Subtract. But it has been doing really well, like surprisingly well. In fact, it's done much more revenue this year than Audacity. I think Audacity beat it last year, but not by a lot. This year, it has been crushing Audacity Micro. Though that being said, $1 of revenue for Subtract is not equal to $1 of revenue for Audacity. Audacity runs at very, very high profit margins due to the nature of the work I take and the kind of parts. I'm doing stuff that is not very material intensive, but time intensive. So like, if I take $100 from Audacity, I get back most of those $100. Whereas with Subtract, if we take $100 of work, the vast majority of those go to the shop that make the actual part, and just a little bit for Subtract to handle the logistics and the marketing and dealing with the customer. I have a whole video about the economics of Subtract planned, but in a nutshell, the reason why Subtract works is if a shop works with us, we cost less per lead than if they did sales themselves or worked with a outside salesperson. So what that lets us do is maintain prices that are fairly competitive for the rest of the market and the shops still take home what they would take home if they were getting the work for themselves. We deal with the sales and quoting and marketing so that our shops don't have to. Since we're able to do that in a larger scale than a 1 or 2 man shop or even a 10 or 20 man shop, it actually saves the shops money. So they make more money on it. The customers get the same prices that they would if they went directly to the shops, but now they can send their quote to one place where we have, basically unlimited capacity and, a huge amount of capabilities, far more capabilities than any one shop could on their own. So it works out as kind of a win-win-win. The only problem is our profit margins on Subtract are really thin. And in other Subtract news, we brought in a third person. So for a long time, Subtract has from the beginning, Subtract has just been myself and then Jacob, and then a couple other contractors helping us with things like graphic design and social media management, etc. But we just brought in a third partner to the business. His name is Josh Layton, and he will be focused on sales for now. And he has a great sales background. He's definitely been doing sales longer than I've been doing machining. In fact, probably longer than Jacob or I have been machining. He's been in, the sales world. It's something he's done professionally. It's something he's good at, and it is something that I suck at. Turns out I do all right making videos, but I am awful at managing relationships with customers. That is not what I'm good at. I'm bad at responding to emails. I'm bad at following up on jobs. I'm bad at a lot of the traditional sales things, but Josh is really good at those. So he will be taking over that, side of the business. I will be focused on the product, the machining, the machine shops, the quality, that kind of thing. And so Jacob can focus on the technology. Josh has only been on board for a week at this point. So he hasn't quite learned all of our systems, but he is learning quickly and I think will greatly accelerate our growth. Sure, you'll hear me talk a lot more about Subtract going forwards. It's become a much bigger part of my life, a much bigger part of my business as it's growing. And I think it's slowly going to eat out everything else. Audacity will stay around forever as our kind of prototype and R&D shop and be able to test systems, but it'll probably become less and less of my income as Subtract grows. So far, I have taken basically nothing out of Subtract because I want to keep all of those profits in the business to help kind of keep it growing. As John Saunders says, growth eats cash for breakfast. And it's a little less true for a software company, but oh boy, is it true for any business. It's worse in manufacturing than it is in software, which Subtract is basically a software company. But the amount that has been going in and out of my bank account lately has been kind of crazy. Anyway, I got off topic there. So there's kind of two ways that Audacity could go. If it works out having employees and our systems are good and we get all that dialed in, I might take on some more help here and transition into more of kind of a leadership role of Audacity. Maybe have someone else come in and do the programming and then have someone who run the machines or train up my current intern so he can come in full time and do both. And I might be able to get Audacity to where it can run on its own, or it just stays a 1 or 2 man operation and it becomes not really a revenue center but a testing center for Subtract. It could go either way. I'm not sure yet. And I think I've said this for the last 2 years, but we're definitely going to get some automation in here. I've been looking at 3 different ways of doing that. One would be traditional robot arm. 2 would be a traditional pallet loading system. Problem is they don't make those for Tormach, so I would be finding something used from HGR and retrofitting it in. Honestly, that one sounds the most fun to me. It would also be the cheapest and maybe the most effective, but it would take a lot of time and there would be a high risk of it not working. But then lastly, system number 3 is get set up with a gimbal automation system. I could use that both for part loading and a pneumatic vise, but then also for switching out those little baby Aroa vices that I have. It could handle that too. The problem is to do that, I need either through spindle coolant or through spindle air. Through spindle coolant would cost $7,000 or $8,000 alone. Through spindle air, I could retrofit on for about $1,500, which I guess really isn't the end of the world, but then I have to, kind of put together something myself that is not Tormach supported. I have a couple leads on both traditional robot arms and those pallet systems. I think I'll have something here in the very near future. For real this time, I promise. Especially if this machine gets sold today. If this machine sells, then like I don't even need to think about the capital involved in getting that thing automated. I'll just pull the trigger on it immediately. If this doesn't sell, I don't know. It might take me a couple extra weeks, but some automation is happening here soon. Anyway, I think that's enough rambling. I promised not to plug Subtract, but I will do one plug before I leave, and that is for the Taps and Patience podcast. I've been doing the Taps and Patience podcast with my buddy Harrison for I think 3 years now. At very least, we're at like 150 episodes and we do it weekly. That podcast used to get posted on this channel in addition to regular podcast players, but now it is on its own channel. We are not able to monetize that because it's on its own channel and it doesn't have enough subscribers yet. So if you guys could go over there and subscribe to that channel, whether you watch it or not, that would help us because we could get that monetized and it would help us keep paying for the Taps and Patience stuff. But thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.